Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night SmackDown for February 27th, 2026, on the eve of WWE Elimination Chamber in Chicago. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. We kicked off SmackDown with a chaotic moment. All of the Elimination Chamber participants were in the building for a segment, a scheduled segment, but Jey Uso had been attacked by a mystery man. Another mystery man storyline. WWE loves him. Triple H loves him. It's what WWE does. Jey Uso was loaded into the ambulance. People were screaming. Fatu was pissed. Jacob Fatu was yelling, and then Trick Williams said, "One man down, 4 to go." And Javon Evans told him that was not funny. Drew McIntyre then walked into the arena with a microphone. He had his WWE Championship, and he said he had nothing to do with what happened to Jey. And then Nick Aldis came out there and ordered Drew McIntyre to go to his office. I was enjoying the segment up to this point. It was a nice little change of pace, but then we got into your standard WWE territory. Cody Rhodes comes out, says he wanted to fight. Drew McIntyre said no, because this is what always happens. Cody called him a little bitch. Seems like we get that line a lot, but the crowd popped for it, so what do I know? It worked. Then Randy Orton came out, said he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. Then Trick Williams came out and said he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. Javon Evans came out. What do you think he said? Go ahead. All of you watching, take a guess. Take a wild guess. Well, he said he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. And then LA Knight came out. And then LA Knight and Trick Williams brawled. Randy Orton hit the RKO to Javon Evans and then had a little stare down with Cody. You know, the two guys that are really the best candidates to win the match. I did like the beginning of the segment, but it turned into the standard assembly line, one guy coming out after another. It just feels so manufactured, not organic. The beginning did have a sense of chaos that I liked, but then it just transitioned into your very standard WWE segment. So mixed bag for me to start off the show. Shout out to Dave Scheffler, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Dave. Dave says, Nick Aldis keeps threatening Drew McIntyre, but Drew keeps ignoring, then interfering, and Aldis still hasn't backed up his threat. When will he back up his words? I have a feeling Nick Aldis is going to get payback on Drew McIntyre, and we'll talk about that at the very end of the stream. But I do have a theory, and I'm not talking about Austin theory. Stay tuned. Backstage, Tiffany Stratton was getting ready to have her match, but then she was approached by Asuka and Kairi Sane. Asuka said the Tiffy time was over, and that set up their match. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Our first actual match on the show was Solo Sikoa versus Uncle Howdy. Match was fine. It was a standard SmackDown match. Solo went for the spike but hit the ring post. Uncle Howdy was able to target that for a while, and after the break, they went back and forth a little bit. Solo then delivered an Uso splash, but Howdy kicked out, and then Solo made the heel mistake. It always backfires on them. When the heel goes for the babyface's finishing move, it usually ends in disaster, and sure enough, Solo did go for the Sister Abigail, but Howdy countered it, applied the mandible claw. Solo got out of it and tried to win with the spike, but was unsuccessful. And then Howdy hit the Sister Abigail, and got the 1-2-3 victory. Seemed like maybe the feud was over, but no, because after the match, the MFTs attacked Howdy and they stole the lantern that Howdy was supposed to regain possession of. I don't know, man. This feud just never ends. I feel like they're going to drag it out to WrestleMania, but I'm really ready for it to be over. Backstage, Nick Aldis told Drew McIntyre to leave, stay out of trouble, and McIntyre left. Or did he? I feel like we get a repeat of this storyline every week. Drew McIntyre's gone. He's left the building. Oh, wait, he's back at the end. Spoiler alert. But anyways, the Vision showed up, and Paul Heyman pitched the idea of Logan Paul taking Jey Uso's spot, and Logan was inviting Nick Aldis to kiss his bicep, and Aldis was very suspicious of them, wondering if they attacked Jey, and he said he would make some calls. Poor Austin Theory doesn't even get a chance to be in the chamber. We had Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, the women's tag champions, interviewed backstage. And then Jade Cargill confronted them and said, hopefully Rhea doesn't get hurt leading up to Elimination Chamber. Backstage, Jacob Fatu told Nick Aldis that all signs are pointing to Drew McIntyre being the attacker of Jey Uso. And Fatu said he wanted to be in the chamber now. And Aldis said he would take it under consideration. So you know where this is going at this point with Fatu and Logan Paul both wanting in the chamber. By the way, we still don't know who attacked Fatu and knocked out his teeth. So we got that mystery angle. We got this mystery angle. And we still have the mystery man. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So stay tuned. We had Tiffany Stratton against what we thought was Asuka, but we got the bait and switch because Asuka said she was smart. She was going to rest up for the chamber, and she made Kairi face Tiffany Stratton instead. So you know how this is going to go. Obviously, Tiffany's not losing to Kairi, who's not even in the chamber match. You had Chelsea Green out there on commentary, angle alert. You know, something's going to happen when she's sitting out there. And sure enough, you had Kairi up on top, and then Tiffany knocked Kairi off the top, and Kairi, of course, fell onto Alba Fire. Chelsea Green was angry. She stood out of her chair, and then Kairi went to attack Tiffany, but accidentally hit Chelsea Green, and Tiffany took advantage of that, got Kairi back in the ring, and won with the moonsault. Match was what it was, just a little bit of filler for the pay-per-view. Tiffany gets the momentum win heading into the chamber, which probably means she's not winning, but we'll see. We had a little Damian Priest NXT video, and I think this was the only time we saw Priest on this entire show via the video package. Nick Aldis then talked to the Vision and said that Logan Paul will get an opportunity to compete in the chamber, ... if he can defeat Jacob Fatu in the main event. Wow, what a shocker. Didn't see this one coming. Next up, we had Oba Femi versus The Miz. Miz immediately went to the outside. He got on a microphone. Oba took his first mic, so Miz got a second mic and said that this whole thing was a misunderstanding. He basically wanted to be Oba's Undertaker, be a locker room leader and take Oba under his wing, and they could work together to build Oba up. But Oba said he doesn't need The Miz to help the fans chant his name, and he said that maybe they could be a team, though. He asked the people, what about the Awesome Rulers? Crowd booed this, and Miz tried to walk away, but Oba grabbed him. Miz took a cheap shot, but Oba responded by taking out the Miz. Miz attempted to apply the skull-crushing finale. No avail. He got destroyed. former WWE champion, basically enhancement talent, but it really is what The Miz is doing at this point. Just there to put over other talent. Fall from Grace Powerbomb, Oba Femi wins. Honestly, they have like half a dozen guys they can feed Oba Femi to, heels and faces. You got all the MFTs. I say feed them to Oba one at a time. Feed the Wyatt Six. You could feed Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis to Oba Femi at this point, really. I mean, it was entertaining for what it was. I will say that. And then backstage, Carmelo Hayes wanted to know why Dragunov was not dressed to compete for the United States title. And Dragunov said that he doesn't deserve it right now, but he will come back and fight for it when the time is right. And Melo said that if Dragunov doesn't take the shot, somebody else will. We had Carmelo Hayes in an open challenge match against ... Matt Cardona. Speaking of guys that could be fed to Oba Femi, instead he's being fed to Carmelo, which, you know, it was a good match, competitive, but come on. Nobody in their right mind thought for a second that Matt Cardona was beating Carmelo. Unfortunately, WWE brought back Matt Cardona, and he's just Zack Ryder. He's calling himself Matt Cardona, but he's basically just there to enhance other talent. He's literally in the same role he was in when he left the company. I don't know. Doesn't really wrestle any different. Still does the woo-woo-woo. Still does the Rough Rider. Just seems to me like there was no real good point in bringing him back other than to keep Chelsea Green happy and have them together. That's really the only reason I think he has a job. So the match was good. Cardona did hit the Rough Rider, but you had the kick out from Carmelo, and then Carmelo won with the first 48. Again, you know you're low on the totem pole when you lose to the first 48 and not nothing but net. Just saying. After the match, they had a handshake. Cardona raised his hand. So yeah, Cardona put over Carmelo, as he should, but I still wonder what was the whole point in bringing back Cardona if he's just going to be in the same spot he was in before. Guess you can always use a few good bodies. Then we had R-Truth with the lower card baby faces, you know, Fraxium and Motor City Machine Guns. They were there with the mystery crate. We have a mystery man that's attacking the Vision, a mystery attacker who knocked out Jacob Fatu's teeth, a mystery attacker who took out Jey Uso, and we also have the mystery crate. A lot of mysteries going on in WWE, and hopefully we'll have a revelation as to who's inside the box or what's inside the box. I don't know. As I said on our prediction stream, my expectations for this, I'm trying to keep them as low as possible. So R-Truth was talking about the crate, and they were plugging the ESPN app for the show. Kit Wilson came in, called them all toxic. And then Candice LeRae had to drag her depressed husband, Johnny Gargano, to the ring so she could face Jordynne Grace. Fairly competitive match here. They traded near falls, and Grace showed off her power. She did a delayed superplex from the top, and then Candice LeRae got the upper hand, but then her husband just decided to walk off like a depressed zombie, and Candice was distracted, and Jordynne Grace got the win. Not much to it. The Gargano stuff, he's depressed. He's having a tough time since his buddy went to AEW. Kind of a lackluster storyline, in my opinion, but hey, people like the memes of Gargano depressed on the beach and depressed on family vacation, so there you go. They did show another Royce Keys clip from the Stephanie McMahon podcast, and I'm still wondering, when the hell are they actually going to put the guy on TV? It's like they hired him and they don't know what to do with him. I don't know if the reports of him being older than he actually was has something to do with it. But like, you sign the guy, and if he is 41 and not 35, then maybe that's all the more reason to get moving here and put the guy on TV already. It's just weird to me that they haven't followed up with that, and it makes me wonder if they're not really sure what to do with the guy, and that's concerning. We had Raquel interviewed backstage, focusing on winning the Elimination Chamber, and then Jade Cargill confronted her and said Liv made a good choice. Liv Morgan made a good choice by picking Stephanie Vaquer, and then Michin and B-Fab once again confronted Jade Cargill, setting up the showdown that I don't think anybody asked for, and I certainly didn't, but they keep teasing it every week, and I'm like, ugh, just time filler. I mean, really, Jade should just destroy both of them 2-on-1 in 3 minutes at this point. We had a video package recapping AJ Styles and his retirement speech and the Hall of Fame revelation from The Undertaker. And then we had Cody Rhodes talking to Jacob Fatu, was hoping that Fatu would win the match. And then Sami Zayn came over, shook Cody's hand. Cody left, and then Zayn wanted to know how Jey was. Fatu said not too good. And then Zayn started pointing the finger at Fatu. And Fatu was not amused by this and said that, if anything, Drew McIntyre tried to help Sami Zayn win a few weeks on SmackDown in that qualifying match. And then Fatu said maybe he should be keeping his eye on Sami Zayn. Zayn backed off and apologized and said Fatu should win it for Jey. And then when Fatu left, Sami Zayn threw a hissy fit and flipped over the table. So definitely feels like we might be getting heel Sami Zayn. And I mean, he was a heel before, but he was basically an undercard guy. We'll see what happens if this is the direction WWE is going in with Zayn. We had the tag team title match. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defending against Lash Legend and Nia Jax, the Irresistible Forces. And it was a pretty standard tag match. Heels got the early advantage, swinging the champions into the barricade at the same time. And then Rhea Ripley got a hot tag after the break, but then Nia Jax regained the advantage, delivered a Samoan drop, and then Rhea avoided the Annihilator, hit a power bomb out of the corner, and then Nia gave Rhea a Samoan drop on the announce desk. Io saved Rhea, and then Io started to build up momentum. She delivered the moonsault to Lash, but Nia broke up the pin, and then Nia hit the Annihilator on Io, and Lash Legend went for the cover, but Rhea pulled Lash out of the ring. Rhea got back in, hit the Riptide on Nia. However, Lash was actually the legal woman, and she managed to pin Rhea Ripley with her finisher, the Lash extension, giving us new tag team champions and also cementing my predictions. I did say Rhea Ripley as my primary pick, and I went with Tiffany as my second pick, and I am doubling down on that and then some. Rhea Ripley getting pinned here definitely screams to me that she's winning the Chamber. Makes it even more obvious that she's winning the Chamber. No longer has the tag titles and got pinned. And, she'll rebound with a big win at Elimination Chamber and face Jade Cargill, which, quite frankly, is the biggest match they can do with Jade. You look at the roster, I think it's bigger than Charlotte. I think it's bigger than any other possibility. And speaking of Charlotte, she was backstage eating ice cream because she's depressed about not winning the Elimination Chamber qualifier. And Alexa Bliss told her partner it's fine to not be fine. Julia and Kiana James confronted them, and then Jade came in and wished her challengers at the Chamber luck. And that was that. So now Charlotte's depressed. Charlotte and Johnny Gargano, they could be depressed together, eat ice cream and pout around the locker room area. I don't know. I thought it was cringy myself. I'm kind of over the depressed angle. They did it with Gargano, and now they're doing it with Charlotte too. And the comedy, it's just not clicking for me personally. We had the MFTs confronting Nick Aldis, and Aldis said they're going to determine new number one contenders. I don't know if that's going to set up WrestleMania, but probably just something to get Fraxium and Motor City Machine Guns back on TV for a couple of weeks. Let's face it. Backstage, we had Nia Jax and Lash Legend celebrating their victory. We also had a CM Punk video package for the Elimination Chamber. That was well done. And then we had Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Oh, wait, no. Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, my bad, confronting Randy Orton backstage, wanting to see the dark side of Randy Orton. It really is Karrion and Scarlett's gimmick that Aleister and Zelina are doing. And Randy Orton said if Black wants the angry version of him, his only advice is to be careful what he wishes for. And then Randy Orton said he'll take care of Aleister Black after the Elimination Chamber. Then we had Fatu versus Logan Paul in our main event to determine who would replace Jey Uso in the Elimination Chamber. And you had the immediate interference from Austin Theory, but Fatu recovered. And then after the break, Fatu went for a swanton, but Logan got his knees up. And then Logan hit the blockbuster and a springboard moonsault, but Fatu kicked out. Fatu made his comeback. And then we had more interference. Austin Theory and Paul Heyman on the apron. Logan Paul hit a low blow, knocked out Fatu with the sucker punch, came off the top with the frog splash. However, Fatu kicked out again. And then we had a masked man attack Austin Theory. Logan Paul, however, went after the masked man, who was definitely shorter than the usual guy, and took off the mask, revealing some random guy. We had a random masked attacker. And surprisingly, the real attacker did not show up. I don't know where the real attacker was. So this was very bizarre. We had a fake masked man on this show. And then Fatu took advantage of this, hit the pop-up Samoan drop. But then Drew McIntyre showed up and hit Fatu with the WWE Championship. And then Logan Paul pinned Fatu to get the final spot in the Elimination Chamber. My guess is because Bronson Reed was reportedly going to win the qualifying match and go on to the Chamber, WWE decided to go back to what they initially had planned, get Jey out of the match. They had to call an audible there on Raw, but they decided to take Jey out and get Logan in essentially as the Vision's representative. And we'll probably see the masked man or something's going to happen, some kind of angle at the Elimination Chamber. All in all, I thought SmackDown was okay, but man, the 3-hour shows, you guys know how I feel. I say it every week. They drag. And the angles were all right, but feels very predictable. I liked the very start of the show, but then it went into its usual routine. We did have a tag team title change, but to me, that was in a way a negative because it just made the outcome more obvious that Rhea Ripley's winning. And going back to what I was saying about a potential triple threat, I mean, after this angle with McIntyre hitting Fatu, I think I'm almost certain now it's going to be a triple threat. It's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu as the night one main event, and Fatu will get in there. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. says, hopefully Fatu can show WWE that they did the right thing by putting him in the title match. Well, Fatu's doing great. He's wrestling with his shirt off now. He's in great shape. And he's got the crowd behind him. He really is what I think WWE wanted Solo Sikoa to be. And I do think they need to pull the trigger on the guy if they're going to try to make a new top star. I mean, Jacob Fatu's definitely one of those guys, along with Trick Williams and Oba Femi. I would say push him and maybe even put the title on him at WrestleMania. But yeah, I do think we're getting that triple threat. So yeah, Cody winning is painfully obvious. Rhea Ripley winning is painfully obvious. Anybody else winning those matches, I will be very surprised. We'll see what they do at Elimination Chamber with those matches. And Dave Scheffler sent in a $2 super chat, says, could be several angles in the men's chamber, which is funny because the chamber is supposed to keep out the interference. You know, they're inside the structure and it's just them, but we know how it goes every year. Somehow somebody always manages to sneak in and cause shenanigans. And I wouldn't be shocked if we get somebody running in who's not supposed to be part of the match. That's how things typically go with this. But yes, we could see multiple angles and probably will to set up the WrestleMania matches. They really got to get moving with it now. We're definitely coming into the home stretch here after the chamber. Although really, we still have like 6 weeks left after the chamber. So that's not quite true. There's still plenty of time. It's not like they're doing WrestleMania at the end of March or the first weekend of April. It's like the third weekend of April. They do still have some time. All right, guys, that's all I got for the SmackDown recap. I thought it was okay. I'm going 5 out of 10 for SmackDown. Didn't blow me away by any means, but definitely not the worst show I've ever seen. It was decent. It was, in fact, 5 out of 10. Thank you, guys. Much love and appreciation. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for live results coverage of Elimination Chamber. And at the bottom of every page on NoDQ, we have a comment section. Leave your thoughts. And then I will be back on YouTube, NoDQ.com/YouTube, to give my thoughts on the show after it's over. Stay tuned for that. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.